Hello, everybody. I wanted to thank you for joining us today. I know it's 4 o'clock here in the Eastern time zone, and different time zones around. It can be the middle of the day, so we appreciate you attending today. If you need to leave at some point or anything like that, this will be recorded, so you just can request that, and we will send it out to you. In its entirety. So I will go ahead and get started then, because if anyone arrives late, they can go back and look at the recording afterwards. But if you can at any point put on your put a question that you have into the chat, and either Dr. Hofer or I or me will be very happy to answer any questions that you have. We'll go ahead and start the presentation and go from there. So, um, first off, I would like to let Dr. Hofer, our program director, introduce herself.
Hi, can you hear me, Chris?
Yes.
Great. So, hi, I am Dr. Carriehofer. I am the director of the Pharmacogenomics program here at Cincinnati. Before I started at Cincinnati, I opened the first Masters of Pharmacogenomics program in the country in a small town of Indiana called Fort Wayne, Indiana. I launched both on campus, online, dual degree programs as well. So I have a little bit of background in this so-called thing, pharmacogenomics, that is a very new science to a lot of people. And when you hear pharmacogenomics, usually, we'll get to the slide in a second, but you usually think of 23andMe and Ancestry DNA. So what got me into this actually was when I was very young in my college career, I had a professor. Her name was Dr. Colleen Cascino, and her daughter had stage 4 neuroblastoma. If you know anything about brain cancers, they're very, very deadly. She knew her daughter had a death sentence when her daughter was 4 years old. Her daughter ended up passing away when she was 7 years old. But the stories that Dr. Cascino had for me about how she would sit her daughter down and her daughter had to take all these medications, they would travel around the world. There was different side effects, different issues with the medications. And I always wondered why Janie, her name was Janie Cascino, why Janie, why that? And why her? Why somebody 4 years old? Why wasn't the medication working? How can we fix the medication? How can we cure neuroblastoma? That's also a great question as well. But it was just something that really led me down the track to pharmacogenomics and figuring out how we can help individual patients with at least their therapies, because if we can't cure their cancer or we can't cure their disease, can we help them have the best possible outcome, especially with their drug therapies? So that's sort of what led me down the pharmacogenomics pipeline. I got my PhD at University of Buffalo. I currently live in Buffalo, but I'm moving to Cincinnati very shortly, which I'm very excited about because that will bring up more opportunities for the pharmacogenomics program. I don't know if I was allowed to talk this long, so I will hand it back over to Chris and you'll hear from me in a couple seconds.
Thanks, Dr. Hofer. So my name is Chris DeMeo. I'm an online enrollment services advisor here at UC. I work with the programs in our College of Pharmacy, including the Pharmacogenomics program, and there's a team of about 6 of us. So if you've already inquired for some information, you're probably working with either me or one of my colleagues, and all of us are knowledgeable on the program and happy to answer any questions that you have. So just to go over what our agenda will be today, we're going to talk about what is pharmacogenomics. So Dr. Hofer will go a little more in detail of that. Then an overview of our program, what the admissions requirements and processes are, our new tracks that we're developing for the program, then our application registration deadlines, and then finally what the experience is at UC Online. So I will let Dr. Hofer take this slide of what is pharmacogenomics.
Yeah, so I got a little bit into that a little too soon. I like to jump ahead sometimes in my PowerPoint presentations. But what is pharmacogenomics? In the very, very layman's terms, it's basically when you take a medication, how that medication can impact what's happening in your body or how your genes can influence that medication. So, for example, I hurt my knee really bad in 2012 playing softball. It was a stupid injury. It had nothing to do with, I should have never hurt my knee, but they gave me codeine for the pain, especially after surgery. It gave me codeine and it was doing nothing. It was actually making me really, really sick and passing out. So I was getting no pain relief. I was getting pain relief from ibuprofen and Tylenol, but codeine, not at all. And codeine's actually an inactive drug. It has to be metabolized in your body into morphine. So since it has to be metabolized, if you don't have the proper genes or your genes are turned off or you're a poor metabolizer, you won't get the morphine effect. And I was not getting any morphine effect at all. So when I was able to do my gene report, it shows that I have an inactive CYP2D6 gene, which is the gene that metabolizes codeine into morphine. So that in a sense is pharmacogenomics, because that is how my body is interacting with that drug when I take that drug. I shouldn't take codeine. So from here on out, when I have any pain medication prescribed to me, I can actually tell the doctor, like, look, this isn't going to work. I know it because my genetic report says X, Y, and Z. Sometimes the doctors will listen, sometimes they won't. And that's what makes pharmacogenomics so cool right now, is because it's cutting edge. Some doctors just need a little bit more explanation. They need a little bit more time to learn about the science. And they need to understand that the science really is a huge area that they can actually impact patients' lives. So the one little story about me and my coding experience is definitely brings light to the table of pharmacogenomics. There are so many more stories out there that I would love to share with you in the program. We get into the nitty gritty from cancer and nutrition and all of that stuff to sort of see how there's different layers of pharmacogenomics, which is pretty cool. So if you want to go to the next slide, Chris, I can talk about some program highlights. So the program is 30 total credit hours. It can be completed in less than 2 years. I have it set up where it is 6 semesters. So it is spring, summer, fall, spring, summer, fall. That way you're only taking about 5 credit hours at one time, so not to overbear you or overburden you with extra work, because I know a lot of people have families, they have full-time jobs. 5 credit hours sometimes is a lot. I know my students right now in summer, especially because it's summer, there's weddings, there's other things going on. They're very appreciative that they're only taking 5 credit hours. It is all 100% online. There's no campus visits required for this program, which is really great. The program is 100% asynchronous. There is opportunities for live classes within the program, but they are not required. That is for your own use if you're looking for that. There is, like I said, that part-time flexibility, which is really great. You can balance all of your work life responsibilities. It's led by some pretty great faculty, if I do say so myself. I am one of them that you will see mostly all the time, but I also have some fantastic adjuncts that are very, very sought after. They have some knowledge that really you can only get from them, which is really great. And with the courses, there's a lot of opportunities for engagement. So there's discussion boards, and there's assignments, and there's group projects, and there are opportunities to basically eventually will be, maybe you do want to come on campus, maybe you want to learn from somebody at Myriad Genetics, which is in Cincinnati. So those are some other opportunities that are forthcoming, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, so if you want to move on, Chris, I can talk a little bit more about the program and its tracks, because we are one of the only pharmacogenomics program in the country that gives you the opportunity to pick your own career path or pick your own program track. So as of right now, there are 3 tracks. There is the advanced pharmacogenomics track, the clinical trials track, and the pharmacy leadership track. So how this works is you will be accepted into the pharmacogenomics program, and you will start with the same 3 required classes: MMP, which is metabolism, molecular biology, and pharmacogenomics. You will take ethics and scientific research, and then you will take a seminar class as well. That seminar class is actually paired with the drug development program, which is part of the clinical trials track. It's really great because it really brings in some presentations and stuff like that that you really don't expect to have to do with online programs, but it's really great because it lets you dive into the scientific literature and then speak about your favorite topic that you read about in the scientific literature. But during that first semester, you're going to be creating a course plan. That course plan allows me to track and make sure that you're staying on track for graduation. That's really important to me. I really want to make sure that I foster an environment where you know that I am here for you. I am here to make sure that you're taking the appropriate classes. You're not going to fall behind on graduation. So that course plan stays up on my computer all the way until you graduate. I check the box just like you do. I make sure you're getting the grade to pass to go to graduation. I'm making sure you're hitting all the requirements. So during that first semester, when you create your course plan, you will pick one track. So either the advanced pharmacogenomics track, clinical trials, or pharmacy leadership track. I haven't mentioned the informatics track yet because it has not launched yet. I am hoping to launch it this fall semester. So if you join in the fall semester, you probably will. I don't want to say 100% yet because things can happen, down the road, but I promise there will be some opportunities for you in informatics. So with the advanced pharmacogenomics track, some courses you can expect to take is nutrigenomics, so how nutrition and genes interact, cancer genomics, so there's a whole different layer of genomics with cancer. It's really interesting. Implementation science, so how that works with different areas of science, so doctors, nursing, pharmacists, you as a scientist in pharmacogenomics. And then careers in pharmacogenomics is another seminar. The clinical trials track really has a deep dive into the drug development program. This is where you're learning about all the preclinical and clinical trials. This is really exciting and timely right now because of COVID out there. And we had to, the Pfizer, J&J, Moderna vaccine, they sort of did go through the clinical trial, although very quickly, but they have went through every single step they needed to go through. If you want to obtain an additional certificate in clinical trial management or drug development, there is an opportunity for you to do that here with one extra semester. So usually a certificate would take you 15 credit hours. What I'm allowing you to do is with your elective classes, you can use 9 of those 15 credit hours into obtaining a certificate as well. So that means when you graduate, you have one extra semester, but you're graduating with both a master's and a certificate in drug development or clinical trials. And then pharmacy leadership track. This is going to be really great. I almost call it a mini MBA with a very pharmacy centric background. So it is not an MBA program, disclaimer, but it is like a mini MBA. And you can also obtain a certificate in this one too. So again, those 9 credit hours of electives go towards your 15 credit hours of a certificate program. And you'll see the courses include here principles of leadership, and then you would select 2 or more classes from the pharmacy leadership program, which you can find right on our website. So when you're in the website looking at pharmacogenomics, if you just backtrack a little bit and look at the pharmacy programs, go to pharmacy leadership, you will see all the courses listed there for that as well. Or if you have any questions, you can always email me or Chris. So those are the tracks, and then the required courses also are down there listed for you. We have advanced pharmacogenomics, human genetics, pharmaceutical biotechnology, where you learn about PCRs, Western blotting. You won't be in the lab, but you'll learn about all the techniques and history behind them. Clinical applications and pharmacogenomics. So this is where you get into some case studies. Of course, there's going to be a biostatistics and research class, and then also a couple seminars. You will start with one seminar, you have another seminar as well. So with that, I think I turn it back over to Chris now to talk a little bit more about the program.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Hofer. So just to go over kind of what the admission requirements for the program are. So you will need at least a bachelor's degree, and then we do look for a 3.0 in your undergraduate degree. That's not necessarily a hard requirement if you've shown some sort of improvement over or professional experience. We do look at all applications holistically, but just as kind of a baseline, we do look for a 3.0 or above. We also like to see at least one semester of undergrad work in organic chemistry and calculus or something related. And basically, that's just kind of a litmus test that you can take a hard science course and be successful. But if you're kind of confused because you didn't take specifically those courses, feel free to reach out to Dr. Hofer or me, and we can go over and see if you meet those requirements. So that's a little bit of a not as much of a hard requirement, more of just kind of showing your background and ability to be successful in the program. If you're an international student, and there's a bunch of different factors involved in this, but you may need to take an English test as well. There's a couple different options for that, and if you do fall under that category and are wondering whether you need the test or not, just reach out to your enrollment services advisor, and we can definitely help you with that and make sure you're up to date. You may also need a transcript evaluation if you studied outside the US. Again, your enrollment services advisor will be able to explain all that for you and exactly what you need. And then as part of the online application system, so it'll be an online form, and we can provide that for you when you reach out and get into contact with us. It's a living document, so you don't have to do it all in one sitting, but you'll start the application and you'll need a couple different items. You will need 2 letters of recommendation, and the way that those work is you will put in your recommender's name and email address into your application system, and that will trigger an email to go out to them, to your recommenders with a link for them to submit the letter, and they will need to submit it directly. These letters of recommendation can be from anyone, either professional or academic. So if you've been in the field a long time, you don't have any academic contacts, that's okay. You can get a couple professional references, or if you're the other way around, a new grad, you don't have those professional recommendations yet, you can go ahead and get those from an academic source or a mix of the two. The next, we'd like to see a statement of purpose. So basically just telling a little bit about yourself. It's your chance to speak to the selection committee. So why do you want to pursue this program? What's your background, what your career goals are, and that kind of thing. Just a couple paragraphs explaining why you're applying to the program. On top of that, you'll need a current copy of your resume. You will need your transcripts. So your higher ed transcripts, we only need unofficial for the application process. So that's nice because it's free to get your unofficial transcripts. Usually you can either log into your school's system and get those and print out some sort of degree audit, or you can also contact your school and search for your school and unofficial transcripts on their website. And then on top of that, normally there is a $65 application fee, but all application fees for the fall are being waived. And then for attending this information session, you are also able to get your fee waived if you're looking at a future term. Just make sure to let your enrollment services advisor know about that. We did have a question just come up from Amanda. It says, "Hi there. Curious about how long the full program takes. Do the different tracks impact that at all?" I'll
I was
let.
just writing back to that, but I will jump in here. So the different tracks do not impact the length of the program at all. The program is 30 credit hours, so there is the opportunity to do the classes faster. There are some classes that are only offered in summer, so you might have to wait for a certain class to be offered. There, but the program really is a 6 semester program set up with 5 credit hours per semester. You are more than welcome to take way more than 5 credit hours if you want to. It is totally up to you, Amanda, where you stand, if you have a part-time job or you have a family or anything like that. So like I said, the program is set up for the 6 semesters. Some people are finishing in 5, some even shorter than that with 4 semesters. So it really is all dependent on your workload at home and also on when certain classes are offered. So when you do join the program, you will see that I have everything set up for you in the grad handbook. I have probably way more documents than you would ever need telling you when classes are offered. And then I always have that course plan so I can make sure that we're filling all the requirements.
Great. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Dr. Hofer. So yeah, that's all you need for the admission questions. So, or sorry, for the application to complete it. But any specific questions that you have on that, your advisor will walk you through the entire process and work with you. I do recommend if you are looking to start in the fall to get started with that application as soon as possible. And that's because it is a living document, so you don't have to finish it all in once. And typically, what holds people up who want to get their application finished but end up not getting it in on time are those letters of recommendation. So you can always start your application, get in those requests, and then if you do that now, those recommenders still have a month to turn in their recommendation rather than hunting them down the last couple days. And then other than that, everything else can really be completed in a couple hours or in the evening or something like that. Um, Going over the costs of the program. So first of all, the program is eligible for financial aid. So if you look into that or looking into that path, just reach out to your enrollment services advisor. They'll give you some instructions of how to fill out FAFSA, what UC's code is, and everything to go through that. But overall, the cost of the program is either 783 per credit hour if you're a resident of the state of Ohio. And if you are out of state or international, there's no extra cost to being international or anything. Anything outside of Ohio is going to be 798 a credit hour. So if you're on that normal path of 6 semesters, so you're looking at 5 credit hours a semester, you're looking at 3,915 a semester if you're a Ohio resident, or 3,990 if you are not an Ohio resident. And so then just idea of total cost you're looking at is 23,490 for Ohio residences and 23,940 for non-Ohio residents. Um, Moving on to the application deadline. So the application deadline for if you want to start this fall, which is August 23rd start date, is going to be August 1st. So you have just over a month there, which is plenty of time. Really, it's just about getting those recommenders in that I would recommend starting the application soon. Then in the spring start date, you're looking at a December 1st deadline, and that would have a January 10th start date. And then lastly, it's not on there yet, but we do also have that summer start date, which is in May. So all 3 semesters of the calendar year are perfectly fine to have a start date for the program as well. Uh, a little bit about what sets UC Online apart is our student experience. So you will receive start to graduation support. So right from your first information request, you got put into contact with me or one of my colleagues, and we work with you all the way through your application, all the way up until you confirm your spot in the program, and then you will get handed off to our colleague Erin Smith, who's on the call right now. She's what's called your student success coordinator, and she will be your contact all the way through graduation. So she'll help you get enrolled in classes every semester. She'll have some check-ins in the semester. Any issues you're having at all with anything, she's your point of contact, and you have her all the way throughout, all the way until you graduate. You will also have access to University of Cincinnati resources. So you are a student online, but in every other sense, you're going to be a University of Cincinnati student. So at the end of the day, your diploma's from University of Cincinnati, and you're treated just like a UC student. You'll have all the library resources that are available online, technical support if you're having any issues with your courses. You have our online management system, Canvas, that you'll be working through and some support with that. And then there's also some writing center opportunities if you need that. They have online tutoring services available to you. And then something particular about this program is we do have well-connected faculty like Dr. Hofer, and then an engaged pharmacogenomic community that can help assist you because the field, although it's small, people do have different paths that they're moving through and looking to. And Dr. Hofer can talk a little bit about her experience and how she's helped some of her previous students before with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to the elephant in the room, my cat behind me, he for some reason has both of them have decided to jump up and say hi in the video feed. So ignore him. He's hungry right now. But so some mentorship opportunities that I'm really excited about is I had a student that lives in Cincinnati that wanted to do a little bit more research, and I got her connected with Christ Hospital, which has one of the largest pharmacogenomic units in any hospital around the country, which I'm really excited about being partners with them. And then I had another student reach out to me that was really interested in nutrigenomics. So I sent out mass emails to a bunch of nutrigenomic companies looking for a bite back. And I finally did find a professor from University of Toronto, and he actually welcomed her with open arms into his lab. And he is doing some research projects with her, and she can do them all online. So when my students really want something, I will make sure that they get it and they will get the opportunity to at least network and interact with people, especially in a field they're interested in. Now, I did say in the beginning that I had opened up the first Masters of Pharmacogenomics program before. So some of the opportunities I can speak to for my past students is one of them got a fantastic job at Myriad Genetics, which is actually in Cincinnati, Ohio. He is now a clinical trial curator because he wanted to work from home and he wanted to be closer to family. So I was able to connect him with the people to get the job that he needs. Few other people have moved into different lab positions. One of them's at IU Medical Campus, which is in Indy. She really wanted to get into this one lab. So a couple years after she graduated, I was able to connect her with the person in the lab. And like I said, if there's anything you're really looking for, just let me know as soon as possible, and I will work really hard to get you that opportunity that you're looking for. I did see another question come in the chat here. Are there specific undergrad degrees or work experience preferred to apply? Really, the only undergrad degrees that I would say, obviously, if you get an undergrad degree in art, it's not going to benefit you for this program because you're going to need a little bit of that science background. So really any science background, biology, chemistry, even physics, or any maybe biochemistry, something around that realm is really going to give you the opportunity to excel in the pharmacogenomics program because it is science heavy. So if you have a Bachelor of Arts in very art, for example, my sister's going to school for music, this would not come easy to her at all. She would have a very hard time because she doesn't have the tools and that she learned in the undergraduate degree to excel into the master's degree. And then any work experience. So let's say you do have that Bachelor of Arts degree in something and you have now worked in a pharmacogenomics lab for 2 years, get a hold of us because that shows you made a career switch. And I even tried to make a career switch once, and it was not what I wanted. I went promptly back into being a professor in pharmacogenomics, but it's if you're showing the ability that you want to work in this pharmacogenomics lab, you have really maybe switched your mind and you want to get into this program. Maybe there's something we can do where you could take just a biology or a chemistry class from UC undergrad, and then we can pop you right into the program. So work with us. We're willing to work with you. Show me your work experience. If you're willing to work in the pharmacogenomics lab, we're willing to work with you. We'll just have to assess your background and experience. Does that help, Amanda? Perfect. All right. I think that wraps up my mentorship opportunities as well. Like I said, there's one more thing. We are not yet. It will happen in the next couple days. I just had to wait for the approval. But if you do join UC for the pharmacogenomics program, you will automatically be put into the Personalized Medicine Coalition, which is one of the best organizations for pharmacogenomics in the country. It lets you network with a bunch of people, gets you, looking at CPIC, different meetings, everything like that. So that is one fantastic opportunity. We're one of 3 schools that are affiliated with the PMC organization. The other school being Manchester University, which is in Fort Wayne, and the other being University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida. I will pass that back to you, Chris. He's probably like, "What? You just threw that on me."
No, that's great to hear and a great opportunity for our students. So the next step then, if you are looking to join, you can visit our website, online.uc.edu. That'll have access to the application or to request any information or anything like that. If you have any specific questions, you can email me. That's my email there. Or if you've been in touch with any of my colleagues, just continue to email them and they'll be happy to answer any questions. Like Dr. Hofer said, any specific situations, background questions, anything like that, Dr. Hofer is more than willing to speak to you about it and what your career outlook would look like or anything. So don't hesitate to reach out to one of us if you're looking for more information with that. Just a reminder that deadline is August 1st, so I'd recommend getting started if you are looking for the fall, and if you're looking for a future semester, just you're welcome to start the application, but obviously you have a little more time. Um, does anyone else have any other questions? Feel free to either throw them in the chat there, or you can go off mute for a second if you wanted to ask any questions. While I give everyone a sec, just a reminder that this will be recorded, so we'll be able to send this out. So if you missed any part or wanted to go back and ask anything, or you wanted to send it to someone else or anything, we will be able to send that out to you. All right. If nobody else has any other questions for now, we are always available. So just shoot us an email or you can give me a call. Oh, here's another question from Anthony. What are some possible career outcomes?
That's a great question. Thanks, Anthony. Some career outcomes, it really can go in many different ways. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is not a lot. I would say 50% of the people that join this program are looking for it to be a stepping stone into something like the pharmacy program or a stepping stone into a genetic counseling program. So these programs are very, very competitive to get into. And sometimes people just want that extra thing on their application that shows that, hey, I can do these doctoral programs. But the other 50% really go into, I'm going to say there's 2 avenues. You can go into the lab avenue, which a lot of my students have in the past. So that's where you're going to maybe be doing some genetic testing. So you could be doing PCR analysis, Western blotting, liquid biopsies. You could go into the clinical trial curation type role, which is becoming a very hot field because you have all of this data coming in and you're sort of like the knowledge base. I sometimes call it the librarian of these genetic testing companies because they need to know how these clinical trials are impacting their research. So that's a really hot new field that's coming out, this clinical trial. That's why I have that clinical trial track. There are also opportunities in nutrigenomics labs. There's opportunities in, for example, writing reports. That's a huge one too. So these pharmacogenomic reports, there's companies out there like translational software that some of my students have went to. Also, some students have a job already. So I've seen my students now go from being just a lab technician to having a team underneath them. So it really depends on where you are in your career path, but I have seen all three opportunities: jumping into a doctoral program, getting that first job, landing that first job in some kind of lab or clinical trial company, or also advancing and having a team underneath you as well.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Hofer. Um, if there are no other questions, then I can go ahead and end here. But as a reminder, it will be recorded and able to send out. And then any other questions, just feel free to reach out to us. If you haven't already been in contact with someone, you can reach out to me directly or go to online.uc.edu. But we appreciate again you taking your time and being with us, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thanks, Mac.